It's time to review the weapon that's name makes me laugh every single time that I say it. This is the Tromboncino, and it's this week's brand new Tides of War unlock that you can get your hands on. And it joins the Commando carbine in being a bolt-action carbine available for the medic class. This new category of weapons for the medic is really opening up some different playstyles, which at the moment, I'm really appreciating. Until new maps arrive for Battlefield 5, there isn't a huge amount that's keeping me entertained, but I've got to say that this new weapon category is giving me some different challenges that I can navigate. Now, of course, as with every new week of the Tides of War, you're going to have to work your way through a set of challenges to unlock the weapon, and this week DICE has chosen to integrate some of those challenges into the Combined Arms co-op mode a little bit more. There are multiple paths that you can take, as usual, and I'm happy to report that there are challenges that allow you to complete this tree in either Combined Arms or standard multiplayer. So if, like me, you can't stand Combined Arms and you think it's a complete waste of development time, considering how underwhelming it is, then you can just do what I did and complete all of the relevant challenges in a multiplayer match instead. If you do like Combined Arms, then DICE added 2 new missions with this update on the Fjell 652 map, and they added matchmaking as well. That's something that should have been implemented when Combined Arms first launched a couple of months back, but it is now here, so if you haven't got any friends to play with at that time, you can hit the matchmaking button and you can play with random people across the world instead. But these Tides of War challenges then, let's work through the tree and let you guys know how you can unlock the new Cappuccino gun. Things start off with a single challenge called Teamwork, and that asks you to score 12,500 points in multiplayer or Combined Arms as a squad. This is fairly self-explanatory. Just do your thing in normal multiplayer or just play Combined Arms and watch the score build up. Then, the tree splits into 3 different paths that you can take. The top path, that focuses on Combined Arms specifically. The first assignment, called Breakfast, asks you to kill 20 enemies in Combined Arms, and the second, called Friends in High Places, asks you to call in 3 reinforcements in Combined Arms as a squad. This means if you're not the squad leader and 3 reinforcements are called in, you'll still complete the challenge. The middle path has just 1 challenge, and it's called Mutual Support. This asks you to revive 20 squad mates in multiplayer or Combined Arms as a squad. This will count all the revives conducted by a squad, so you don't have to do 20 directly. All of the players in the squad will count towards that top 20 amount. And then the bottom path has 2 challenges on it, and this path focuses purely on multiplayer. This is the path that I took this week. The first is called Pit Crew, and it asks you to repair teammates' vehicles for 500 health in multiplayer as a squad. So again, you don't have to do all the repairing yourself. All of the repairing done by the squad is counted towards that 500 health. And then the second challenge is called Complex Logistics, and it asks you to spend 50,000 requisition points in multiplayer as a squad. So the squad leader needs to be using the requisition points that the squad is building up. Next, the tree then condenses down into 2 paths. The top path contains more challenges towards Combined Arms. The first one is called Day Trip, asking you to complete 2 new Combined Arms missions on Fjell 652. These were the ones I spoke about earlier. They were added with the patch on Tuesday, and they're now active for you to play if you want to. To complete this section of the Tides of War, you have to play the 2 new missions on Fjell. The second challenge is called the Grand Tour, and it asks you to complete a total of 4 more missions on Combined Arms. And then the bottom path, that focuses on multiplayer again. Conquerors is the first challenge, and it asks you to capture 8 objectives as a squad. So again, you don't have to do all of those on your own. It will count all of the ones completed by squad members. And the second is called Fire Team. This one asks you to kill 20 enemies using primary or secondary weapons as a squad. So like previous ones where it says as a squad, you don't have to do that all yourself, but it will count all those squad kills with primary or secondary weapons. There's a lot of squad and team play in this week's tree. The tree then comes back to a single branch to finish things up with the final 2 challenges. The mandatory one is called Float Like Butterflies, and it asks you to score 7,500 damage in multiplayer or combined arms as a squad, and the branch off, the optional challenge just above it, is called Sting Like a Bee, and it asks you to score 250 damage to vehicles using the new Tromboncino's integrated grenade launcher in multiplayer or combined arms. So then, that's the tree sorted out, and now you've got your new trombone gun. Is it any good? Well, since I've unlocked it, I've now ranked it up to rank 8 already, and I've had some really interesting rounds with it. Like I said earlier in the video, it's certainly a weapon that's changing up how medics can operate in Battlefield 5, and I'm enjoying the greater challenge of using a bolt-action weapon in close to mid-range. Introducing a weapon like the Tromboncino into the medic class, on the face of it, looks like a bad idea. Medics currently operate at close range. They're picking off enemies with their SMGs, they're chucking out meds to everybody they can, and they're reviving fallen players to bring them back into the fight. They're naturally geared towards close range engagements. The trombone is a weapon built for mid-range combat, and it's unlikely to do so well in those close quarter engagements, so what you've got then is a weapon that completely changes the role for the medic class. Instead of being sat on the front lines, aiding literally every other class to keep them alive, you've got a weapon that allows them to compete in the same ranges as assault and support players, at least when it comes to shooting at enemies. When you've got to close the gap and go in for the revive, that's where the weapon will show its weakness, and at longer ranges as well, where the damage drop-off is quite severe. But because it is still quite important that you do go into the close range engagement sometimes, because you've got to revive people, you've got that smoke launcher gadget that you can call upon as a medic to provide you with some cover so you can approach in a little bit less danger, but you shouldn't expect the Tromboncino to really help you out that much if you come across somebody holding an automatic weapon in close range. They are going to kill you almost every single time. One neat feature that the Taco Cheeto does have is a straight pull bolt, something that nearly every other bolt-action rifle in the game lacks if you decide to add a scope to the gun. You can cycle the bolt faster, and thus you get a faster rate of fire for the weapon. 2 body shots at mid-range is enough to confirm a kill with this thing, so if you're able to pop those shots off faster than another player can reply back to you, then you're golden in the mid-range. This thing is a really, really good mid-range performer. Also, none of the scopes that you can put on the Toblerone create scope glint, so you're fairly well hidden in the vision of other players. And, of course, we've got to talk about the integrated grenade launcher, because it's like a highlight feature of this new weapon. It is clunky, and it certainly isn't going to be turning the medic class into some tank destroyer anytime soon, but it is satisfying when you land some damage with it, and it can be used against infantry as well, almost like a deterrent or a denial of entry device. It's placed into the alternate fire position on the weapon, so hit the button that you'd normally hit to switch an automatic weapon to semi-auto, and you'll be presented with this lovely animation converting the carbine over to a temporary grenade launcher. And when you spawn into the map, you get 2 grenades you can use, but you can pick up a third one from a resupply station. If you hit the button again, you'll be back to firing bullets relatively quickly. Now, it's an addition that makes sense for the medic class, I think, which at the moment is almost completely useless when it comes to attacking vehicles. Of course, you can obscure their vision with smoke grenades, but it's not the best when it comes to attacking vehicles. But it's not like this addition is going to rebalance the entire game. It's not going to give tank drivers yet another thing that they have to be scared of. Rather, it just gives the medic a nice little outlet to use to combat tanks and other vehicles. You're unlikely going to be destroying too many vehicles with this thing, but you're going to be able to do some damage at least. And just like any other weapon in the game, you can specialise the new Tuberino a little bit as well. The spec tree allows you to focus on either improving the hipfire accuracy, and that's likely going to give you a very small leg up if you find yourself in a close range engagement, or you can buff the aimed accuracy of the thing. Now, what interests me is the level 4 of this tree. It gives you a choice between further increasing the rate of fire of the gun up to 100 rounds a minute from previously what was 88 at the expense of some weapon control, or you can buff the direct damage of the grenade launcher against vehicles, and you'll sacrifice some blast damage and radius here, and that'll make it less effective against infantry targets but more dangerous against the vehicles. For now, I've gone with the rate of fire increase, since choosing the grenade buff option actually disables them, which has been confirmed as a bug, but once that's been fixed, I'll probably switch it over to the grenade buff, because if I can do a little bit more damage against tanks, then I think that's going to be more viable for the medic class. So, overall then, the new Tromboncino and the many varied names that it's already gotten from the community is pretty awesome, and it's definitely something that you should give a go. Be aware that it does change the overall playstyle of the medic class, and you'll have to take things a little bit slower, and you'll have to put more distance between you and your targets, but in general, I think it's a great addition to the class, and I think DICE has really hit a good thread by adding this category of weapon to the medic. But let me know what you think of the weapon down below in the comments. Is this something that you're going to be using more, or will you unlock it and just put it in your gun closet for another day? Let me know down below in the comments section. But a big thanks for watching today, and I'll be back next week with some more Battlefield 5 coverage. But until then, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.